theories and all of the stuff that's out there, these are low-level distraction stuff. Obviously, the New Age spirituality movement, it's not a bad thing in itself, but essentially, look at where it started from something very different. Do you know what I mean? This whole moving into the age of Aquarius and the whole New Age stuff.
Well, of course. I mean, from us at this point, what I've up on so far, this is the reason also for why they are averting all of these, esoterics, I would say, even pagan, come from a Christian background, what have you. But the real part is that I think that there's a spiritual truth in many of the myths, so to speak, that they actually use to control people, meaning that there actually is something real to this. And they have known this for a very long time, but they constantly manipulate people in the other direction, consequently say that that's all bollocks, don't look at that. We have your religion right here for you. We call it Christianity. Have you? And I consider many religions that we have basically is a reference from the oldest religions going back to the ancient world of Canaan, Egypt, what have you, And it doesn't matter in what package they sell it to us. If you're smart enough to be able to see through that, if you're clouded too much, I mean, manipulation, that's unfortunate. In many cases, it's people's own choice and nothing against either,
No, that's right. You can't dictate, can you? I mean, essentially, like, I'm trying to get across what I'm trying to say. I move into an area that Luz touches on. I think you've spoke to Matthew Deleuze before. But essentially, me, the power structure that remained in power, or something that built the pyramid, that got the people to build the pyramid, was a very powerful force. And in the history of a book called The Secret History of the World by Jonathan, it's an esoteric secret history of the world. And particular book states how since the early days, we're getting more ingrained in matter. We're moving like evolution in a material sense, but consciousness has equally gone in evolution, moving from the spirit, drawing itself down into material time. And so, for instance, when you listen to the stories of Zep Tepi the first time, and the state that the gods ruled the earth, or ruled Egypt, and then the gods retracted, so they built statues used for people to worship. And then eventually, after the gods had retracted so much, the heroes then ruled the earth for the gods, or ruled Egypt for the gods. And then, essentially, when statue worship to idol worship into what we're currently celebrity star worship, yeah, do you know what I mean? Same thing, all this, like, all part of the same thing.
Well, exactly. Sorry, continue.
But my thing is that obviously the Egyptian power structure that was in place then has never died out. If you look at the way the power structure has moved, like essentially when Egypt collapsed, you had the excess from this stuff into the area of Israel and Palestine. And then the next major power structure was associated with Rome. And if you go to Rome, you'll notice that there's Egyptian obelisks. If you go to Rome, you'll notice that there's Egyptian obelisks in front of the Vatican, in front of the Pantheon and stuff like that. They carried those things over there from Egypt. And then, obviously, the Roman Catholics went on the Inquisition, slaughtering out any heretical, like, religions, such as, like, that and the Bogomils, moved Europe. And then, essentially, found a new power structure erect in Paris. And obviously Paris has got, it's symbolic for Paris, it's already in the word.
Yeah.
But Paris, they moved the obelisks and stuff, Place de la Concorde on the, the Champs-Élysées alignment.
Yeah.
You got that symbolic area. Like when I went the other day, I went to the front of the Louvre, and we've got a aerial point of the layout of the Louvre, and it's an exact replica of the temple with the Avenue of the Sphinx into temples. I was into the same place, and I recognised this. But there's no official statement. Any Louvre is based on Egyptian temples and all that stuff, but it is, obviously.
Of course.
This power structure, once it had done in Paris, it decided that it would find the new centre of move to London. You go to London, you've got obelisks and stuff like that. You've got the official story is that Big Ben, named after a politician named Ben, stood up in Paris, said, let's call it Big Ben, and everyone laughed, said yeah, but it's not called Big Ben, it's named after the Ben stone, which is one of the very first stands proud in Egyptian history.
Of course, and even in Hebrew, Ben is the son of one. It's the big son.
Yeah, the Big Ben, for instance, is a huge obelisk type structure, right in the obelisk of London Eye, we call it again for the all-seeing eye.
Oh, I know.
And then obviously this power structure moved from London to America. And America has been used as an excuse to run all these that it's needed to run until it's collapsed itself into the ground, and then America. That's how I see it been used essentially. And they've used the people there.
Well, and that's also an interesting point. I mean, there's not much to touch upon on that, but just to be brief about it, even that I think they want that if we feel about America as an experiment, if you will, and much in the way that we can look at the Soviet Russia as an experiment, but or Russia, but might might have wanted a certain kind of stock, if you will, people or a certain type of need, those who are willing to draw out roots from one country and just leave, and a type of reality. You take all these different things into account, you end up with a really interesting picture that showing you that what you're mentioning here, that they want to use America for a specific purpose. But anyway, please continue. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if we this premise that power structure's been died out, and then you start looking at the English word and the language and stuff like that, connecting back to this idea of scion, and then I think essentially with English words, as I've said, you've got television, television.
Yeah.
So basically, everyone thinks the television is an evil like machine, anyhow. I mean, other than the ones who enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's a televised scion.
Yeah.
Think of spiritual ascension, spiritual ascension, scion. It's the same word what we use.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's endemic and it's there. You can't get away.
Of course. And vision or vision, that's the in there. It has to do with visualization. See something, So. Yeah.
But this is where I can start to spike this thing up slightly. If you look at it, it starts being apparent that it's more to do with just like, for instance, more to do than just someone hijacking a power structure and keeping it in control. It's not like it's to do with material reality itself. It's to feel like that it's coming from some things. If you think of it as souls and spirits trapped in matter, like this is where I'm starting to perceive things. Sense of all religious figures throughout history, every single one of these illuminated and figures, every single one of them has a sun behind their heads, right? So sun worship, again.
Yeah.
And Christmas, friends, get away from Christmas. I mean, Matthew Deleuze talks about this stuff, and I recommend listening to Matthew Deleuze because he's a very intelligent man and he's a very, very special man. But sorry, we're